I run a century-old family-owned grocery company. We have always followed the ancestral rule. Year-end bonuses are paid only in gold bars. The new intern, an overseas returnee, curled her lips in disdain at the policy. What era are we living in? Still handing out gold? That's so backward it's embarrassing. I was holding the roster. I raised my head and glanced at her. So what do you want? She rolled her eyes, scanned the meeting room, raised her hand, and shouted, "This outdated bonus system is an insult to modern corporate elites. What we want is stock options, cryptocurrency, luxury international travel. If the company refuses to update with the times, then a rural, outdated enterprise like this doesn't deserve to exist." Fine. I flicked my pen and signed off on the resignation forms of everyone who sided with her, even compensating them according to the N+1 policy. A month later, gold prices skyrocketed. I heard that the cryptocurrencies they were holding had gone straight to zero. My phone immediately started blowing up. "Boss, please, can you let me come back? Gold locked in a safe is nothing but dead money. People talk about capital efficiency now. Money has to circulate to generate profit. Hugging a lump of gold like that, what are you going to do? Buy bonds or invest in stocks? That way of thinking is so outdated. Do you think the boss is running a charity? How naive. A truly good company should share equity options so everyone can enjoy the fruits of growth, not hand out tiny scraps like gold and treat us like illiterates. Stability? Stability means earning a dead salary your whole life. If you want to change your fate, you have to take risks. If you don't even dare to shoulder a little risk, how can you dream of breaking class barriers? We're intellectuals, not people who only know how to live cautiously. Do you want to stay poor forever? Or dare to gamble for financial freedom?" Li Jia's voice rang out like a bell, clearly audible even outside the tea room. I stood outside the door and couldn't help laughing. The Ta family brand had been passed down for over 100 years. We never sold illusions or empty promises. We dealt only in real money and real gold. This time, the gold bars were custom-made, each weighing exactly 200 grams. At today's price, 1.002 yuan per gram, the year-end bonus was worth 200 yuan. Higher than the bonuses of many senior executives at other companies. Not to mention, these gold bars also had collectible value. Old employees here never needed to resign proactively, they stayed with the Ta family until retirement. By then, who didn't own assets worth millions? With property in hand, that was the security the Ta family provided. But coming out of Li Jia's mouth, all of this became proof of backwardness. An insult to elite intellectuals. Handing out gold is no different from treating us like ignorant country folk. Li Jia's voice rose several octaves. Through the cracked door, I saw the younger employees nodding repeatedly, clearly struck at their sore spots. Even a few long-time, usually steady employees showed signs of wavering, seeing that if I didn't step in soon, Li was about to turn this company into a feudal-era sweatshop. I pushed the door open and walked in. "Sounds like you have quite a few insights about the company's policies." Li snorted. "You heard it all. I have some opinions. You're not so petty that you can't stand hearing them, right? So what do you want?" Li flipped her hair, her gaze sweeping across the room. "We want modern benefits that keep up with the times. Stock options, cryptocurrency, or high-end global travel. That's what matches our status." I raised an eyebrow and looked toward the administrative manager standing in the corner. "You heard that?" "Yes." "Write it down." The manager froze for a moment, then hurriedly pulled out a pen and started taking notes. I turned to the others. "If there are opinions, we can revise things. Anyone can propose what they want or don't want. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., we'll hold a company-wide meeting to discuss it." With that, I turned and walked out. Behind me, an immediate wave of commotion erupted. Li Jia's shrill voice pierced the noise. "See? That's called fighting back. If you all keep quiet, capitalists will treat you like idiots forever. Be strong tomorrow." That night, I scrolled through workplace social media and immediately saw a viral post, "Second Generation Heiress School's Backward Boss." Replaces gold bar bonuses with stock options, so satisfying. The idea of the poster looked very familiar. The content was even more so. The entire article was pure attack, painting me as a miser clinging to ancestral wealth, while portraying her as a workplace hero breaking outdated systems. I sighed. She was an overseas returnee, having different expectations was understandable. But repeatedly inciting employees to cause trouble, was she just foolishly fearless? Or was there something else going on? The next morning, the company group chat exploded with messages. Lee continuously forwarded over a dozen articles. Why smart people choose stock options. Physical bonuses are the biggest workplace lie. Don't let a dead salary drag your entire life down. She tagged everyone. This is for our future. Don't be blinded by short-term gains. At 10 a.m., the meeting began. I leaned back in my chair and tilted my chin slightly. Lee pressed the slide remote. On the screen appeared large, bold words. Building a modern and humane workplace. She cleared her throat and circled the screen with a laser pointer. This proposal is based on major Silicon Valley companies. A truly humane company must meet 10 top standards. First, flat management, reject hierarchical oppression. Second, asset-based benefits. What we need are profitable options, not worthless junk that can't be carried around. As she spoke, she shot a provocative look in my direction. After Lee finished, other employees began speaking up. The first to stand was unexpectedly Wang Peng, head of the sales department. I think Li Jia makes sense. Gold bars are heavy to take home. And you have to worry about theft. If you want cash, you still have to go to a gold shop and pay fees. It's troublesome. Cryptocurrency is more modern, why not give that instead? I looked at Wang Peng. I clearly remembered that last year, when his mother was seriously ill, I immediately advanced him half a year's salary to help him through it. I hadn't expected him to be the first to turn his back on me. Project lead Lam Du also spoke up. Director 2. Although gold bonuses are a company tradition, we should re-evaluate the situation. The ideas Li Jia brings are truly modern. If the company stubbornly refuses to change, it'll be eliminated by the market sooner or later. I remembered Lam Du too. 2 years ago, he couldn't even make a decent slide deck and nearly ruined our most important client presentation of the year. I had ignored all opposition and given him another chance. He once said he would follow me to the end. I didn't expect him to switch sides so quickly. Ms. Tran sighed from the corner. You two bosses are still young and don't know how to plan ahead. Gold is good, but you can't eat it. And you can't pay tuition with it. If something urgent happens with the kids, you still have to find a place to sell it. It's inconvenient. I think Li Jia is right. Cryptocurrency might rise in value. Maybe it'll even cover my child's college tuition. And I won't have to work another 10 years. I remembered Ms. Tran too. 2 years ago, her child was hospitalized with acute pneumonia during a critical project phase. I approved special paid leave and provided additional hardship assistance so she wouldn't worry about medical bills. I didn't expect her to turn away as well. I closed the roster in my hand and scanned the room. So everyone truly wants to give up real gold for unlisted stock options or so-called virtual benefits? Lee slammed the table first. Chin raised high. We need respect. We need future opportunities. We refuse to be bribed with feudal-era tactics. That's right. We want stock options, not gold. We have to keep up with the times. Amid the noisy shouting, a small hand quietly rose. Tiu Na, sitting in the corner, stood up. Boss, I still want the gold bar. Is that okay? My mom really likes gold. The room instantly fell silent. All eyes turned to Tiu Na as if she were some strange creature. Lee sneered and rolled her eyes. A country bumpkin who's never seen the light. Giving you a chance to jump classes and you don't even know how to take it. You deserve to be a wage slave for life. Several people laughed along, their eyes filled with contempt. I ignored the laughter and simply called out. Tiu Na, come here. She lowered her head, hugged her notebook, and walked over to stand behind me, not daring to look at her coworkers. I turned back to face the people seated at the table and nodded slightly. Fine, since you all think gold is backward, then we'll cancel it. To meet the modern spirit you speak of, and to learn from neighboring large companies, this year's New Year bonus will be replaced with a box of imported chocolates and a bottle of foreign wine. After saying that, I pointed toward Tiu Na standing behind me. Tiu Na will still receive the gold bar according to the original rules. The people who had just been chanting slogans alongside Li instantly fell silent. Like grain suddenly smothered, the atmosphere in the room collapsed into chaos. Everyone looked around, eyes full of confusion. Chocolate and wine, all together. Could that even add up to 500 yuan? Meanwhile, at the current gold price, each gold bar was worth a full 200 yuan. Li slammed her hand hard on the table. Chocolate? Do you think you're handing out alms to beggars? What we want are stock options, shares, modern benefits, the things you promised. Director 2. This behavior violates commitments and constitutes fraud. You clearly agreed to reform. How did reform turn into handing out chocolate? She spun around, trying to stir up the crowd again. Don't be afraid. This is just the boss testing our reaction. As long as we stand firm, she'll be forced to issue stock options. This is our legitimate right. I scanned the room slowly, looking at employees who had worked at my company for many years. People who should have been the most clear-headed. I couldn't help but sigh inwardly at how easily they had been incited by an intern. It wasn't that they didn't know the true value of the benefits my company provided. On the contrary, they knew it all too well. They knew I was easy to talk to. They also knew that a family company wasn't publicly listed, that it was entirely private, and that most of the annual profits flowed into my pocket. So their eyes turned red. They wanted a share of my equity, my assets. Even if Li was lying, they were willing to believe her. But this was the two families' legacy, built with the blood and sweat of generations. It wasn't something I would give away like a joke just because employees shouted a few slogans. And besides, I was the boss. Since when did I take orders from them? I raised my head and stared straight at Li. Stock options. When did I ever say I would issue them? Where's the recording? Li froze. She couldn't produce any evidence. Because I had never officially said I would issue stock options, much less promised to list the company. The employees who had been eagerly waiting for equity now didn't dare meet my eyes. They immediately turned to look at Li instead. Didn't you say the boss already agreed? Li, didn't you say it was settled? Hearing the murmurs, Li's face flushed dark red. She suddenly slammed the laser pointer onto the table. Titan CA, are you playing me? She pointed straight at my face. Spit flying. You fraud. If you can't play fair, then don't play at all. You staged a meeting, pretended to ask for employee opinions. Let us speak openly. Now that everyone has spoken, you turn your face in front of everyone and try to fool us with a few boxes of cheap chocolate. Do you have any professional ethics left? Seeing her lose control, I leaned back calmly and took a sip of tea. Does the contract say I'm obligated to issue stock options? Li's chest heaved. She clearly had no way back now and completely tore off the mask. Stop hiding behind contracts. You're nothing but a spoiled rich kid living off your ancestors. Other than throwing money around to crush people, what else can you do? This family business is poorly managed, with archaic systems. No wonder it's never amounted to anything. I'll make this clear. If you don't issue stock options and change benefits today, this isn't over. The employees around her were stunned by her shouting. No one dared interrupt. I set my teacup down and looked directly at her. Done yelling? Li sneered. Not yet. Suddenly, she raised the phone in her right hand. A stand was stuck to the back, and the screen was aimed straight at me. The interface showed comments flying by non-stop. In the top left corner, the viewer count was clearly visible, over 100,000 people. So she had prepared this in advance. No wonder her voice was so loud. Her gestures so exaggerated. It was all a performance for a live stream. Li turned the camera toward me. Tears instantly welled up. her face changing faster than flipping a page. She choked up at the camera. "Family, did you all see this? This is the true face of capital. She just asked us properly what we wanted and told us to speak frankly. But the moment we proposed reform and modernization, she flipped immediately. She turned so-called reform into handing out chocolate, just a box worth a few dozen yuan, to people like us who contributed an entire year. This is humiliation, open humiliation." She turned the camera toward the stack of documents on the table. "Everyone, look, this is the proposal I personally prepared. For the company's benefit, for collective growth." And what happened? The boss didn't even bother to glance at it before rejecting it outright. She even announced that only employees willing to be obedient dogs would get gold. Using privileges to divide us. She's isolating us. A boss like this, emotionally manipulative, exploitative, workplace controlling, must be exposed. In the live stream, comments scrolled wildly, all calling me a cold-blooded capitalist, a bloodsucker, a feudal lord. Lisa continued crying to the camera, tears rolling down one by one. I watched her performance calmly and picked up the desk phone, dialing the head of legal directly. "Shang Kai, have you seen the live stream?" "I have." "Contact the platform immediately and send a lawyer's letter. Grounds: malicious defamation and damage to reputation. Demand the live stream be shut down at once and all edited clips removed." "Understood. I'll handle it immediately." Less than 10 minutes later, Lisa's live stream was cut. The screen displayed only one line. "This live stream room is suspected of violating regulations and has been temporarily suspended." The people around stared at one another, speechless, and quietly filed out of the meeting room. I set the phone down and turned to look out the window. Lee thought she could use online public opinion to bring down the family. How naive. The family brand dealt in dried goods from north and south. Traditional pastries and custom gift boxes. Our clients were cooperatives, long-established shops, and elderly customers who paid only in cash. These people didn't watch live streams, didn't scroll short videos, and had no idea what workplace reform even meant. Lisa's stunt, aside from making herself famous online, had zero impact on the company's core operations. I was about to tell Shang Kai to draft a lawsuit holding Lee accountable for defamation when my office door was pushed open. Lee walked in first, followed by Wang Peng, Lam Du, Ms. Tran, and 5 or 6 younger employees. Each of them was holding an envelope. The scene made it very clear, they were here to force an abdication. Lee walked straight to my desk and slammed the stack of envelopes down. "Director 2, we resign." Her chin was raised high, her eyes full of contempt. A small workshop that says one thing and does another doesn't deserve modern talent like us. Wang Peng stood beside her, rubbing his hands, forcing a fake smile. "Boss, don't blame us. People always want to move forward. Yesterday you said you'd change things. And suddenly gold turned into chocolate. Anyone would panic. What if one day even salaries stop coming?" Lam Du hurriedly echoed him. "That's right, Director 2. There are plenty of opportunities outside. We want to try too. Big companies all issue stock options now. We want a chance to turn our lives around." Lee cut them off, tapping the stack of envelopes. "If the company unilaterally changes the benefits system and turns promised year-end bonuses into cheap chocolate, that's a serious violation. We consulted a lawyer. In this situation, forced resignation requires the company to pay compensation under the N+1 policy." She pulled out a detailed spreadsheet and slapped it on the desk. "This is the amount we calculated carefully. Pay up, sign, and we leave. If not, yesterday's livestream was just a warm-up. I'll let all of social media know how the family treats its employees." I took the stack of resignation letters and signed them all in one sweep. Without hesitation. To me, the value of a few gold bars far exceeded that compensation money. If they insisted on picking sesame seeds while throwing away a watermelon, then I would indulge them. Lee and the group behind her all froze. None of the scenarios they had imagined, persuasion, negotiation, arguments, happened at all. The finance department took the documents and immediately began processing transfers on the spot. I added, "Each of you will receive a resignation certificate with an excellent evaluation. Since you want to leave, I'll send you off properly, so you can take that excellent label and spread disaster to your next company." 5 minutes later, Lee looked at her phone. Her stunned expression vanished, replaced by extreme delight. She turned around and shouted to the group behind her, "The money's here, everyone, see? This is the victory of struggle. We got the money, months of pay without working." Cheers erupted from the crowd. They held up their phones and looked at each other, as if they had just won a battle. Before leaving, Wang Peng even turned back and pretended to be kind. "Boss, don't be mad at us. You have to move forward in life. Your old rules don't work anymore." That night, I lay stretched out on the sofa, scrolling on my phone. Lee's livestream was back on. Titled, "Successfully Cashed Out and Left. Second-Generation Hero Cleans Up the Workplace. Massive Win." On screen, Lee held a champagne glass. Her face flushed red from drinking. "Family, that backward boss really thought she was something. The company's empty now, all the core staff followed me. Let's see how she cries tomorrow. Let her hug that damn pile of dead gold. We're about to welcome a new world." The comment section was flooded with 666 and absolutely based. I looked at the screen, turned off my phone, and sank deep into the sofa. Cry? I only wanted to laugh. I'd finally driven those self-proclaimed gods out. The family business was due for a blood renewal anyway. I took out 2 gold bars and handed them to Tiu Na. "This is your New Year bonus. Double." Tiu Na stared at the gold bars, her hands trembling. "Boss, this is too much. I can't accept it." "Take it." I pressed the gold bars into her hands. They were so heavy she almost couldn't hold them. "This is what you deserve. Starting today, you're the head of administration. Double salary." Tiu Na hugged the gold bars, her eyes red, unable to say a word. Not long after I saw Tiu Na off, my phone began vibrating non-stop. All breaking news. A century-old company suspected of money laundering. Mass gold payments allegedly used to evade taxes. The topic's popularity skyrocketed in minutes. I tapped in. The poster was a burner account, no need to guess who was behind it. Lisa. She uploaded several blurry screenshots taken from surveillance footage of me handing out gold bars to employees in the past. The caption read, "The owner of this backward company is actually a mafia heiress. All the gold bars come from the black market and are used for money laundering and tax evasion. Don't be fooled." The comment section instantly exploded. This kind of shady company must be investigated and shut down. No wonder they paid gold. Dirty money can't be made public. Some people even started digging up my personal information. Even my license plate number was dragged out. I didn't rush to get angry. Defamation requires evidence. I turned and opened the safe, taking out the family company's tax registration certificate. This document had been passed down from my grandfather, bearing official seals from the Republican era all the way to the present. I then took out the gold smelting certificates and a thick stack of tax payment receipts. I laid everything out on the desk and photographed each document clearly. I logged into the company's official account, uploaded the photos, and typed the caption. "To Family Trading Company, a century-old legitimate business. Every gram of gold is traceable. Every cent of tax has been paid in full. To those spreading false accusations, see you in court." At the end of the post, I directly tagged Lisa's main account. The uploaded images were high resolution. The serial numbers on the gold bars. The steel stamps on the certificates. The red seals of the tax bureau, all unmistakably clear. Netizens who had been cursing me moments earlier fell completely silent. Public opinion flipped faster than an electric fan. Damn, it's blinding even through the screen. A real major taxpayer. The tax bill is longer than my paycheck. So it's a real legacy family business. That intern was probably just jealous. Is the company still hiring? I don't need dignity, just give me gold. I instructed the legal department to collect evidence across the entire internet. This time, there would be absolutely no settlement. A month later, when legal director Trong Kai came to report progress, he suddenly placed an additional investigation report in front of me. While investigating the case, I also looked into those former employees. Guess where they ended up? I took the file and glanced at the cover. Future Apex Corporation. Not surprised at all. This company was our biggest competitor in the industry. Their CEO was always on forums, preaching about using internet thinking to overthrow traditional retail, calling century-old businesses like ours dinosaurs waiting for extinction. Well, I said, they got what they wanted. Exactly. Trong Kai pointed to the second page. Li Jia led the entire group over. Their HR offered a very competitive compensation package. I skimmed the salary structure. Base salary, 3 yuan. The rest was stock options and performance-based pay. Under benefits, unlimited snacks, afternoon tea, gym access, taxi reimbursement after 10 p.m., housing allowance. Trong Kai explained, they probably didn't calculate carefully when signing. The strike price for the stock options is extremely high, and the vesting conditions are brutally strict. If the company never goes public, those options are basically worthless paper. Even including the pitiful base salary, their actual monthly income is less than 1/3 of what they earned here. I flipped to the timecard records, densely packed with punch-in times. Earliest, 1 a.m. Latest, 4 a.m. So this is the modern workplace they wanted. Over there, they call 996 a benefit. In reality, it's 007. I heard Wang Peng stayed up 3 nights straight in his first week. That so-called afternoon tea? It's just them shoving food into their mouths during wrap-up meetings. And the gym? It's just for clients to look at. Employees don't even have time to sleep. Where would they get the energy to lift weights? I closed the file and shook my head. They chose this road themselves. The more interesting part is still ahead. Trong Kai pulled out his phone and showed me a photo. In the background was the entrance of the Labor Arbitration Committee. A group of people were holding banners, Wang Peng and several young employees among them. All of them looked haggard. Sunken eyes, dark circles almost down to their chins. Breaking news from yesterday afternoon. Trong Kai said, Future Apex laid off the entire group during restructuring. Reason: failure to meet probation targets. Incompatible values. Lack of wolf spirit. He put his phone away. Because they were still on probation. There was zero compensation, and the stock options? Terminated immediately upon dismissal. As for Li Jia, she's still clinging on there. But I heard her pay was cut. She's making a huge scene. After hearing the report, my emotions were complicated. Just a month ago, they had slammed tables in my meeting room, mocking gold as backward, mocking me as outdated and incapable of modern management. Now they returned empty-handed. They hadn't even managed to take a bite of the painted cake before it vanished. That was the price of abandoning real gold and real money to chase poetic illusions and distant horizons. As Trong Kai finished speaking, the TV mounted on the wall switched channels. The news anchor was reporting global instability, rising risk aversion, and a sharp overnight surge in gold prices. I glanced at the price ticker. Each gram had jumped by over 100 yuan. The 2 gold bars in Tiu Na's hands had already doubled in value. A week later, news about the gold price explosion dominated the headlines. That afternoon, I saw Tiu Na post on social media with a photo of a bank transfer receipt. The number was very long. Caption: Thank you, boss. I have enough for a home down payment now. Trong Kai stood beside me as his phone vibrated non-stop. The burner account he used to monitor the former employees group chat had exploded. He connected his phone to the meeting room projector. Messages flew so fast it was impossible to see who was who. Wang Peng sent a string of exclamation marks. My God, those gold bars were real? I just checked the buyback price. 1 bar equals 3 years of my salary. Another employee hurriedly typed. Didn't Li Jia say they were gold-plated props? She said they were bulk-bought fake props. I skipped my house down payment because of that N+1 money. The group began to wake up, frantically tagging Li Jia. You need to compensate me. You were the one who pushed us to resign. Exactly. Pay up. If it weren't for you, I'd have gold in my hands right now. Li Jia. Reply. Don't play dead. Li Jia finally sent a voice message. Her tone was sharp and impatient. What are you yelling for? Who knew she was playing for real? Besides, what's so great about gold? The coins you're holding are the future. Just wait a few days until the price goes up tenfold. Don't come crying to me asking to make money. The moment the message ended, a financial breaking alert popped up on my phone. A major cryptocurrency exchange had suddenly announced suspension of withdrawals, suspected of absconding with funds. It was the exact coin Lisa had been hyping every day in the group, urging them to invest their compensation money. I forwarded the article into the group. The chat went silent for exactly 1 minute. Then the screen was flooded with voice messages. I randomly tapped one. It was Wang Peng, crying. My compensation money, I put it all in. Another employee, who had just been cursing Lisa, broke down crying too. It's over. It's really over. That was my wedding money. Li Jia is a fraud. I turned off the projector and took a sip of tea. Greed always ends like this. The phone on my desk began vibrating non-stop. Calls popped up one after another. All familiar names. Wang Peng from sales. Lam Du from projects. Miss Tran from administration. I hung up one call and another came immediately. Not to mention more than a dozen unread messages. All of them said the same thing. Boss, I was wrong. Boss, please give me another chance. Boss, I want to come back to the company. I pressed the mute button and switched my phone to Do Not Disturb. On the company's internal admin page, recruitment notices for all the vacant positions they had left behind were already posted. The final line was highlighted in bold. Year-end bonus paid in real gold. 100% guaranteed. The notification sound for incoming applications rang non-stop. At the top of the list were several painfully familiar names. Vong Bang. Lam Du. Even the employee who had just been crying in the group chat minutes ago. They had instantly redirected all the passion they'd used to curse Li Jia into feverishly revising their resumes. Trying to crawl back, but coming back? There was no door for that. The next morning, a group gathered downstairs in front of the company building. It was the former employees, holding banners and shouting slogans. We want to go home. Li Jia stood at the front, holding a selfie stick, tears and snot streaking her face as she faced her phone camera. Background music played as she cried. Family, look clearly. This is the company run by that cold-blooded boss. She deliberately concealed key information to mislead employees and tricked us into resigning. Now we've lost our jobs. And even our severance pay is gone. Today we're here to demand justice. We want our positions back. I gestured to the head of security. Go down and take a look. The moment I stepped out of the main entrance, Li Jia lunged forward, nearly shoving the camera straight into my face. Titan, you finally dared to show yourself. You deliberately didn't disclose the real value of the gold bars. This is fraud. We'll sue you. Behind her, Vong Bang and Lam Du quickly echoed her words. That's right. This is deceptive conduct. The resignation contracts are invalid. Compensate us with gold and we'll let everything go. Quite a few office workers passing by stopped to watch, whispering and pointing. I took the loudspeaker from the security guard's hand and switched it on. Fraud? Who was it that slammed the table in the meeting room, calling the gold bars backward and tacky? Who was it shouting about keeping up with the times, insisting on stock options and refusing tangible assets? The resignation agreements clearly state voluntary termination. I paid the severance in full. According to the law, you already took the money. Now the gold price has gone up and you feel cheated. So you want to come back? Then when people lose money investing in stocks, should they also storm the Securities Commission and smash the doors? Li Jia's face went deathly pale. But she forced herself to argue. You deliberately misled us. If you'd said the gold was worth that much, who would have resigned? Tiu Na stepped out from behind me, holding a folder. Li Jia, that day the boss already advised everyone. I said I still chose the gold. You all laughed at me. You called me stupid and said I was a country bumpkin. Now that gold has gone up, you turn around and accuse the boss of fraud. You really do talk conveniently, don't you? Tiu Na's voice carried through the loudspeaker, spreading across the area, making the onlookers burst into laughter. Someone shouted, aren't these just overgrown children? When they profit, it's their own ability. When they lose, it's someone else's fault. Li Jia glanced at the comments flooding her livestream. The fans who had supported her just moments ago were now turning against her. Stop acting, streamer boss. The woman in white is absolutely right. You didn't know how to judge value. Yet you wanted both stock options and gold. Who did you think you were? You deserved to be fired. Seeing the shift in public opinion, Vong Bang and Lam Du exchanged glances and immediately changed tactics. Boss, it was all her fault. Vong Bang pointed straight at Li Jia. She brainwashed us every day in the group chat, saying the company was about to go bankrupt, telling us to take the severance and run. Lam Du hurried to add, that's right, that coin investment was also introduced by her. She said it was insider information. Guaranteed profit. We were tricked by her. President 2. We were blinded by greed. Please give us one more chance to come back. We'll definitely work hard. Li Jia stared at them in disbelief. What are you talking about? You invested the money yourselves. You signed the resignation letters yourselves. Who gave you permission to talk nonsense? No one knew who shoved her first. She slipped. Her phone flew out of her hand, hitting the ground. The screen shattered like falling snow, and chaos erupted instantly. Some people rushed forward, grabbing her hair. Others clawed at her face, screaming and crying. The livestream hadn't been turned off yet. The camera pointed at the sky, capturing only the sounds of shouting, curses, and bodies colliding in disorder. I had seen enough. I turned to the security captain and lightly waved my hand. Get them all out. The family company doesn't take in trash. The security team surged forward, pushing and shoving, driving the entire group out of the company grounds. Watching their struggling figures retreat, the anger in my chest finally subsided. Back in the office, Trong Kai handed me a thick file. President 2. We've confirmed it. Before Lisa joined our company, a large sum of money was transferred into her account. The sender was the CFO of Kuk Kak Tuong Lai. She was planted deliberately. Her mission was to sabotage us from within and poach key personnel. I flipped through the bank transfer records and screenshots of chat logs, my gaze growing colder by the second. So she wasn't just stupid. She was malicious. If you're going to be a commercial spy, I said calmly, then don't blame me for showing no mercy. Gather all the evidence and report it to the police. Also notify the industry association. I don't want her surviving in this field. Trong Kai placed another neatly organized folder on my desk. Inside were transaction records between Li Jia and the competitor, along with chat screenshots revealing leaked business secrets. I flipped through a few pages, signed my name, sent one copy to the Economic Crimes Investigation Unit, and forwarded another to the Retail Industry Association. Trong Kai nodded, took the documents, and left. The next morning, an announcement from the Industry Association was released almost immediately. Li Jia was suspected of commercial fraud and leaking business secrets and was officially placed on the industry blacklist. Permanently banned from practicing. Kuk Kak Tuong Lai also issued a statement shortly after, announcing her dismissal and declaring that they would sue her for falsifying her resume and demand the return of all onboarding bonuses. Li Jia panicked. She uploaded a video online without makeup, her hair a complete mess, staring into the camera as she cried, I was just a 2-shift intern. I only wanted to offer a few constructive suggestions for the company. I never thought she would hold such a grudge. She used her connections to blacklist me and even wants to send me to prison. This is how capitalists suppress young people. The video quickly gained a large number of views. People who didn't understand the full story began accusing me of abusing my power to bully others. I opened my computer, went into the backup folder, found the recording of that meeting, and uploaded it. No explanation, no caption, just a single audio file. Li Jia's voice rang sharply and piercingly from the speakers. This backwater company is an insult to intelligence. They treat us like brainless slaves. Who would want that pile of broken gold? The moment the recording went live, public opinion flipped instantly. The comment section overflowed with sarcasm. This isn't some two-shift reformist youth. This is clearly an overgrown child with no upbringing. Took the severance and then turned around to trash the former employer. And even acted as a spy for a competitor. Disgusting. Recommend a full investigation. But there were still people questioning whether the punishment was too harsh. Li Jia's private message arrived quickly. President 2. I know I was wrong. I was young back then and didn't understand anything. I was seduced by Kuk Kak Tuong Lai. Please withdraw the lawsuit. I don't want to go to prison. My parents aren't in good health. As long as you spare me, I'm willing to be your servant. I'll do anything. I skimmed it, closed the chat window, and blocked her without hesitation. For people like this, mercy toward them is cruelty toward oneself. Not long after, while I went downstairs to the company lobby to grab some food, I saw Vong Bang. He was wearing a yellow delivery uniform, riding a delivery scooter, his face darkened by the sun, apologizing to a customer over the phone. Sorry, the soup spilled a bit. Please don't leave a bad review. I'll compensate you. I heard that he and Lam Du had lost heavily investing in cryptocurrency. Couldn't repay their credit loans. And had been blacklisted by the credit system. Unable to find proper jobs. They had no choice but to make a living delivering food. Because of his poor attitude, he often received bad reviews. And his life was extremely difficult. I glanced at him once, then turned and went back upstairs. A month later, the annual industry conference was held. I attended with Tiu Na. She was dressed in a finely tailored business suit, holding a wine glass, smiling and chatting as she discussed cooperation with suppliers. The timid girl she once was had completely disappeared, replaced by a capable administrative manager of the family company. Only when the tide goes out do you see who's been swimming naked. During a break in the banquet, a foreign returnee named Mai came over to clink glasses with me. When the recent backstage scandals in the industry came up, he suddenly smiled. President 2, I heard that Leah used to work at your company. Yes, why? She goes around claiming she graduated from an Ivy League school. But actually, we lived in the same neighborhood. Mai gently swirled the wine in his glass. She attended a fake school. You could buy a degree as long as you paid. No need to attend classes. During her years abroad, all she did was party. I raised an eyebrow. Do you have proof? Of course. Back then she even borrowed money from me to buy her thesis. I still have the chat records. Mai handed his phone to me. I told Trong Kai to screenshot the entire chat history and casually sent it to the media. The next day, the news shot straight to the front page. Office warrior Gen Z exposed. Fake Ivy League degree turns out to be a diploma mill. Her last escape route was completely sealed off. More than half a year passed. And it was time for the family company's year-end party. I stood on the stage with empty hands. Below me were over 100 employees. Most of them new faces. They looked at my hands, then glanced toward the empty podium beside me. In previous years, that spot would be piled high with gold bars, shining like a small mountain. Some people began whispering, wasn't there a rumor that the family company gives gold as year-end bonuses? Rumors really can't be trusted. Looks like there's none this year. Did they cut benefits? The voices weren't loud, but I heard them clearly. I didn't respond, only gestured toward Tiu Na below the stage. She led several security guards up, carrying 3 massive red sandalwood chests. When the chests hit the floor with a heavy thud, the entire hall fell silent. I walked over and opened the lids. Inside wasn't dazzling gold, but rows of bright red property ownership certificates. People craned their necks to look. I picked one up and held it high. This year, we're not giving out gold. Someone in the audience sighed. Someone shook their head. We're giving out homes. The sighs stopped instantly. I pointed out the window. The newly built apartment complex across from the company was employee housing. I thought the location was good, so I bought the entire building. Everyone here gets one apartment, with long-term usage rights, as long as you work at the family company for 10 years. The name on this certificate will be transferred to yours. The hall went silent for 2 seconds. Then applause and cheers erupted, nearly blowing the roof off. Tu Na began distributing keys with the staff. Everyone held a red certificate in their hands, faces flushed with excitement. Someone recorded the moment and posted it online. In less than 30 minutes, it shot to #1 on the hot search list. To family company gives homes at year-end party. The comments were filled with job applications. I sat in my office reviewing back-end data. In the access log were 2 particularly glaring names, Leah and Vong Bang. Visit count, 99+. Every day, they came to my homepage to watch new employees posting photos of their property certificates and salary slips. Unfortunately, some doors, once closed, will never open again. After work, the driver stopped the car at the main gate. On the roadside, several delivery drivers were squatting while waiting for orders. One of them took off his helmet, revealing a sunburned face. It was Vong Bang. He was carrying 2 portions of spicy hot pot, about to get on his scooter. When he saw my license plate, he froze, nearly dropping the food. He stepped forward, lips trembling, as if he wanted to call out, "President too," his eyes full of regret. I glanced at him once and pressed the button to raise the window. The tinted glass slowly slid up, blocking out his gaze completely. "Drive," I said. The driver stepped on the accelerator, and the luxury car glided away without hesitation. In the rearview mirror, Vong Bang was still standing there, his figure growing smaller and smaller. The road you choose yourself must be walked to the end, even if you have to kneel. When I got home, my father was trimming a luohan pine in the courtyard. Hearing my footsteps, he didn't turn around. "I heard you completely replaced the old staff at the company." I walked to the stone table and poured myself a cup of tea. Out with the old to make room for the new. I took a sip and showed him last month's financial report. Profits had doubled compared to last year. The old man looked at me for a moment, then smiled. "Good, you have the bearing I had back then." That intern named Lee was nothing more than a clown, hopping around to bring a bit of amusement to my otherwise dull life. After all, the most important thing for a company is the vision to choose the right people. That's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to China Story Tales, and stay tuned for more stories.